It's time once again for another thrilling episode of Markout Radio. For the next hour, sit back, pull the stick out of your ass, and enjoy. Be warned though, smarks and internet know-it-alls will be offended, annoyed, and generally pissed off at what's about to happen to your ear holes. You've been warned. Now, Markout Radio.
That's enough of that nonsense. Turn that shit down. Producer boy, do your job. Anyways, welcome to Markout Radio Goes Nitro, episode 93 for June 23rd, 1997. Out of Macon, Coliseum, Macon, Georgia. See, I can get it right every now and then. This is Nitro's 54th win in a row. Almost botched that up, but let's draw attention to it, shall we? With exactly the same ratings as last week. What? Really? All right, fine. Nitro gets a 3.3. Raw gets a 2.4. Happy? All right, moving on. Slightly smaller venue this week as we move from a 16,500 seater in Chicago to a 7,007 people at the Coliseum in Macon, with 5,750 people actually paying their to be there. Jesus. A gate of 98,920 for that night. No merch sales this week, or figures anyways this week. I'm sure there was merch sales because I see a lot of Icon shirts in the crowd, but we have no merch sales figures for you this week. Yes, thank you. Now we kick off at the end of last week's show as Rodman and the NWO lay out the Giant and Luger and spray paint them as the fans toss their trash into the ring with their half-empty beer cups, of course. Mean Gene kicks us all off at the show from the ramp with the DDP promo. Paige is asked point blank who his partner is going to be at the Bash of the Beach. Paige won't tell because he likes surprises, and he goes in a long dissertation about how much he likes surprises, specifically for Christmas and his birthday. Kim, though, apparently does not like surprises. So with that in mind, she went to J.J. Dillon, and Hall is in a match against Paige tonight in the main event. I'm sure that Hall was prepared for that. I'm sure it wasn't a surprise at all. DDP, of course, who loves surprises, is great with it. I'm just struck by the thought that it's a good thing that she's fucking hot. Anyways, after the promo, the camera pans the crowd and we get one of many shots of a MILF at ringside wearing a crop top. Later on in the show, they would really try hard not to get her kids and fat hubby into the shot, but they weren't always successful. Well, we're going to enjoy that tonight, I think. First match of the night is Damien and Parka defeating the Public Enemy, Johnny Grunge and Flyboy Rocco Rock. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 new jerseys for the Public Enemy, and Johnny Grunge's hair is back in style today. You know, I mean, I grew up in the 90s, and I had this haircut. But the 90s clothing style is back too, and that's going to be hit or miss for me. I mean, I appreciate the skin-tight tops and baggy pants, but the oversized sweaters are such a fucking killjoy. What? I don't even, what are you, Gen Z? Is that what you... Well, at least you're not underage. There's an excellent exchange at the top of the match here where Grunge ducks under a Damien clothesline that catches La Parka, and that leads to an exchange of more accidental hits. But then Damien and La Parka get their shit together and perform a double clothesline. Now, this was much different from the overselling a mistake gimmick that we're all still kind of used to these days, where there's an accidental hit, but instead of begrudging yourself the accidental hit, you just plow forward. I kind of enjoyed that, to be honest with you. I wish more wrestlers would do that. After Rock nails Damien through a table at ringside, I guess this was a hardcore match because the ref was watching it. Anyways, the ref apparently didn't see La Parka nail Grunge with a chair, but he did turn around in time to get the 3 count, so there is that. Gene ran promo after this with Gene and Eddie. Eddie's playing up the totally innocent card and claims that Chavo offered to take his place last week, calls out his nephew who can back up his story, which of course he doesn't. Anyway, to ease the tension here, he's giving Chavo his match tonight too, which is an opportunity to win the Cruiserweight title from Syxx. Now, he's already arranged it with J.J. Dillon, which for once actually gets a reaction out of Gene, which means that he must have read the script before his third Scotch on the Rocks. Larry puts this over afterwards perfectly. After this, we got a match. Jericho defeats Alex Wright 2.5 out of 5. The Twink shoots on the American fans to the live cam as he comes down to the ring, and we get another shot of Crop Top MILF at ringside. They this time managed to crop out her kids, but of course her fat husband's still in the picture. Lots of small mistime moves here. Eric and Kevin keep booking them in these matches together. I know that they're booking these guys in a match together because it's the start of the show. You want a high impact match with two guys that look good, that can wrestle and everything like that. Problem is that Alex Wright doesn't really wrestle well. I mean, he can wrestle well, but when you put him in a match with another new guy, he tends to try to bury the guy by either fucking up the moves or just no-selling them altogether. Now, anyways, I noticed here in the match that Tenay does know the name of the Lion Salt, but didn't know that the name of the finisher that Jericho used was the Lion Tamer. They called it a Boston Crab, which kind of it is sort of, except that it's standing. Nowadays, we just take this for granted. It's the Lion Tamer. People see it. People see wrestlers that aren't Chris Jericho doing it, and they still to this day call it a Lion Tamer, but it is what it is. Back from break, we get the commentators talking into the cameras about the NWO and specifically Vincent's interference over the last couple of weeks before we dump into the match that whole talk was about, which kudos, by the way, to the announce team for actually talking about something leading into that actual thing. What? I know. The Steiners, Rick and Scott Steiner, defeat Harlem Heat, Booker T, and Stevie Ray to challenge for the tag team titles. They get 3.5 out of 5 for that one. What? Yeah, Braun Breaker is a Steiner. I mean, despite having a similar physique to Scott, Bronson Rothsteiner is actually the son of Rick Steiner. I just, you feel better now? He looks like a fucking Steiner. How could you not know it was a Steiner? But I guess there are people that don't, so fair enough. Excellent reverse suplex here from Booker to Rick, going back to the fucking 90s instead of yesterday on NXT. They got a hell of a pop from that, and then a reversal running the ropes as Rick catches Booker and drops him. Scotty gets tagged in, performs one belly-to-belly suplex, attempts a pin that's broken up by Stevie Ray, and then tags back out. I don't know why he was in and out so fast, but whatever. Sherry here takes an excellent bump that takes us home as Rick gets the pin on Booker. Post-match, there's a Gene Rant promo with Vicious and Delicious debuting their name this week, and, well, Vincent is in the back there somewhere smiling with his stupid fucking sunglasses on. Buff shoots on Scotty's guns before he and Norton claim that they should be the number one contenders, not the Steiners. Right on the heels of that promo, the Steiners join Gene, on the ramp to promote their match at the Bash of the Beach against Hall and Nash. Although technically they're not saying that it's a Bash of the Beach, they're just saying that they expect to get their fucking title opportunity. Tony attempts to recap all of this, but Tenay gets the green light to throw to a vignette about Ernest Miller, where the president of the Karate Association claims that Miller is well over 240 pounds. Fuck's sakes. Oh my God! That is the smallest 240 guy in history. By the way, I'm sure he's close to that by now. By the way, why hasn't Ernest Miller made an appearance in that Karate Combat thing? What? Oh, hey, cool. Producer boy is on the ball this week. He got an offer. Cool. What the fuck happened? He asked him for how much? Oh, fuck off, Cat. Honestly, you jackass. When you work yourself into a shoot, 101 on display yet again. Jesus Christ. What do a GSP gets by comparison? Good grief. Back from break, Tony promotes the Eric Bischoff Doesn't Want You to See This show, which is Gene and Madden's podcast, now with video elements. Think of this as like the infancy of YouTubers. Anyways, Eric doesn't want you to see this, so that's why we're promoting it on Nitro, which Eric directs every week. Did he take the week off this week? No? All right, cool. More clumsily worked bullshit from Gene and Mark. Jesus fuck. There we go. Hector Garza defeats Villano 4. I gave that 3 out of 5. No entrances here for anyone on TV, and their entrances seem to have killed the crowd, by the way, because coming back from break, the crowd is dead. Larry asks if this is a Mexican rules match, which triggers poor little Mike Tenay as he snaps back like a teenage girl. Larry dances with him a bit by talking Tenay into having a partial meltdown, which then Tony has to step in and gives Larry shit about. Because Larry's trying to understand the rules of these new Mexican matches, like all longtime WCW fans, by the way, me included at the time. Tony mentions that Tenay is going down to Mexico, so Larry then obviously quips that he can just stay down there for 1,000 years. That would be awesome, because we're going to be stuck with Tenay for fucking decades. Anyways, think of this match as a lucha match at half speed. There's nothing really wrong with it, but both guys are capable of moving much faster than this. But the American audiences aren't used to seeing this kind of flippy dippy stuff, so they kind of half speed it, which means it's good that neither one's going to get hurt technically. Although sometimes you get hurt less if you move faster. Does that? No. Well, it kind of. If you do this flippy dippy shit, it makes more sense than if you don't. I don't know what to tell you. Garza performs a corkscrew plancha, which apparently he's famous for, from the top rope to Villano 4 on the outside, which looks really fucking stupid, by the way. Essentially, it's a flippy headbutt to the chest. Now, he dives in the air like he's a Power Ranger and does like a corkscrew. The way that Tenay was really pushing this over, it was really phenomenal. And it, I guess in the 90s it was, but essentially it was a 360 corkscrew headbutt to the chest of Villano 4. And it was stupid for a lot of reasons. Number one, from the inside to the out, when you try to land properly on your upper body or even on the front of your body, you're going to bag yourself, or you're going to feel like you've bagged yourself no matter how well you tuck the boys in. Number two, the headbutt jammed his neck back. So instant fucking headache at best, possibly damage at worst, probably traps tighten up, everything else. But on the outside, strike 3 for stupid fucking bullshit. It got a bit of a pop out of the crowd, but the crowd is effectively dead. So even when you broke out this move, you got half of the pop that the Steiners and Heat got just a few minutes before. It was fucking stupid. And the go home here is even worse because they both roll into the ring under their own power. Then Garza performs a standing back flip pin and gets the 3 because apparently that was enough. Not the corkscrew plancha headbutt, but the standing flip pin, because, you know, that always gets the 1, 2, 3 in our world, right? Larry recaps the match. We get a shot of Garza's untelevised entrance, and this match is a wrap. Back from break, Gene's in the ring, calls out Luger and Giant for a promo. We get a shot of the MILF as the guys come out. They've put a black guy in between her and her kids, but Fat Hubby is still there. So I feel like the production team is saying, kids are a boner killer. Having your fat husband next to you is not. I mean, here's what I'm going to say. And again, this is kind of in retrospect, so take it with a grain of salt. But no one's interested in women and rubbing one out to the show that you're fucking televising that is full of oiled up men in Speedos. Even if you could get a half a chub for the millisecond that the MILF is on the screen, I don't care how incel you are, you're not going to be able to rub it out that fucking fast. The camera would have to be on her for at least 3 seconds. Anyways, calm your shit down. Let's get into Luger's truly garbage promo. Actually, no, let's not, because it's fucking awful. It's not even worth going back and listening to it. It's just awful. Then the Giant had to go ahead and make it worse. Now, I'm going to paraphrase here, but essentially he said he's going to stick his big giant hook on a worm. Rawr. I don't even know what to say to that. Luger then fucks up the name of this town worse than I ever have. Did he just say Macon? Jesus Christ. Anyways, this promo ends fucking thankfully. The fireworks perfectly timed this week. I'm not really sure that matters at this point, though. After this, Syxx defeats Chavo Guerrero Jr. in a WCW World Cruiserweight title match. 3.5 out of 5 for that one. Syxx comes out with Hall, who spends the entire time clowning Chavo and providing interference, getting great reactions out of the crowd, and is finally starting to warm up again as a result. Chavo starts to control the match, tosses Syxx over the top rope, which apparently is no DQ. Though, to be fair, WCW was kind of about that rule after Eric took over. Hall then rolls into the ring, performs an outsider's edge on Chavo as Syxx comes back in to finish it off while the camera goes to Eddie, who is just watching with disappointment on his face. Chavo gets stiffed by Hall at some point during his run-in, presumably with that kick to the gut that bent him over, and we see during his tap out to Syxx that his nose is bleeding, and you get to see on Hall's right quad that he's got blood all over it. It's a minor thing, and sometimes it just happens. It just, the kick accidentally rubbed the boot on the nose, and it just starts bleeding. I don't think anyone's going to get heat on this one. I don't even think that Chavo would even bother stiffing Hall at a future time, even if the situation presented itself, just because it's a minor little stupid oops. Really, at the end of the day. Steve McMichael defeats Konnan after this, 3 out of 5. Of course, Deborah comes down with him. Cholo Heisenberg makes his first entrance in weeks, rocking blue jeans. He kind of looks like he's in prison blues. He kind of looks like he escaped the set of the Shawshank Redemption. Anyways, he's ditched the skater elbow pads, but is still wearing kick and knee pads. The new gear, I will give him credit, it does look better. I'm just going to keep calling him Cholo Heisenberg, though, because of the fucking hat. Tony tells us that Jared is on Horseman probation after contributing to Mongo's loss against Green at American Bash. Eventually, Morris comes down to the ring and gets cut off by security for a change. That's good. Mongo finishes off with a very safe pile driver that gets billed as a tombstone pile driver, which is fucked up because I know they're at war, but Jesus fucking Christ. That's like saying somebody in WCW got finished off by a stunner instead of a diamond cutter. You know what I mean? Like, or an RKO instead of a diamond cutter. It would be really weird to have somebody else's named finisher on your show. I understand that it's a bit of a fuck you and everything, and that's great in a childish, looking back on this going, hee hee hee. And even at the time as a fucking teenager watching it going, oh, but I just, it's not that Undertaker's moves are untouchable. It's just that this wasn't a tombstone pile driver. It just wasn't. It was a pile driver, absolutely. But, there was nothing Undertaker-y about this at all. Anyways, Konnan does a great job of protecting his neck and selling it as well. We get a Benoit vignette after this on how he's getting Sullivan in a match at Bash at the Beach, even though they spliced together vignette clips from different times so that it could make sense. You'll recognize, of course, that there was at one point that we talked about on the show where Hart says that the challenger number 3 that Benoit has to face is Sullivan. Well, that was clipped out and used at the end. Whereas the week after that, when Hart says that Benoit has to face Ming at the American Bash in a whatever it was, grudge match, death match, whatever the fuck they're going to call it this week, that was spliced in beforehand so that everyone can, figure out exactly what's going on because Sullivan booking. One can only hope this is the last time we're going to see this feud. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but fuck, I'm so sorry. I'm so sick of this fucking feud. Back from break, it's time for that golden voice bastard Lee Marshall to call in via the 1-800-COLLECT road report. Let's see if he can get again a good dig on Brain this week. Well, it got a half a chuckle anyways. Vegas is apparently still home of the Rack Pack, but Lee could not find a show called Weasels on Ice. I did get a reaction out of Heenan, so bonus points for that, I suppose.
0.0.
Or not. Gene in-ring promo with Piper. Oh, look, a real rowdy chant from the crowd. Unlike when Rousey was adopting this gimmick and got piped in chants from the crowd. Anyways, Piper steals my line and then goes into his promo. Making bacon? You're making bacon and bacon? No? All right, fine. Whatever. Shut up.
0.0.
Fuck you.
0.
Oh, Jesus. Anyways, he steals my line. He shoots a little on Flair, who comes down to the ring. Flair shoots a little on Piper. Then we get the work part of this promo as Mongo and Benoit come down to the ring. Unfortunately, speaking for the Horsemen was Deborah, so the nails were on the chalkboard, and your boy here was having trouble hearing words over that cat scratch of a voice. Eventually, Mongo gets to poking Piper. Piper takes exception. Benoit then piles on. Piper finally snaps, lays out Benoit, then Mongo. Then after Flair does a little 8-year-old temper tantrum in the ring, which we all love to see, he winds up, gets blasted by Piper too. Eventually, Flair begs off on Piper. Mongo blindsides him with the briefcase. Benoit throws on the crossface on Piper, while Mongo and Flair then kick him in the head until security gets into the ring and we go to break. Overall, a very solid promo. No notes, man. I enjoyed it. After this, Ernest Miller and Glacier defeat High Voltage, Kenny Kaos, and Robbie Rage. I gave that 3 out of 5. I still say that High Voltage is underused as a tag team. They're not really great with ring psychology or even really pacing out the match, but they get a hell of a reaction from the crowd. They look good and they work fairly clean. Anyways, this match is a straight-up jobber match to allow for more heat to build between Miller and Glacier and Wrath and Mortis. As, Wrath and Mortis do come out at the end of the match here and almost almost perform a run-in on James Vanderbeek. Right. James Vanderberg. My bad. Anyways, the guy who would end up having the most over eyebrows in the wrestling business holds Mortis and Wrath back as we go to break. Rodman gets a vignette in black and white. There's nothing really wrong with it. It just doesn't age well. This type of production, even startup YouTubers don't produce anymore. But back when the YouTube's infancy, this would be the kind of shit they would put together because it was that black and white and that grainy, edgy shit. There are actually some podcasts and YouTubers that still do this goofy shit. It just doesn't do what you think it's doing. It just, whatever. And by the way, you get a commercial break here with the Outsiders pin set. There's only 10,000 of them. I wish I could mock this more. But see, I think some of you have seen on my back wall over here. You see this thing? That's my WrestleMania pin set right behind me. The first 20 years of Mania. And this one is number 779 out of 8,000. Fuck, I'm a goddamn nerd.
All right.
After this, you get your main event of Diamond Dallas Page defeating Scott Hall via disqualification. I give it 4.5 out of 5. DB comes out before break, which leaves the live audience watching DDP for 2 minutes. Hall comes out posing and doing his thing, and then Macho's "Ooh yeah" hits the song, and Tony, that was not good. Shut up. That was awful. Just ask anybody. Watch the comments. Just watch the comments. You'll see. Shut up. If you grew up with a Macho, you know how bad that was. Anyway. Tony loses his shit, but of course Savage is going to come out because the whole point of this feud is a tag match between the two of them at Bash at the Beach. Kim leaves ringside area because Savage scares her, which is the most believable acting that she will ever do in her career. I guess it does do it. Don't get me wrong. She does have fantastic tits. She doesn't? All right, whatever. Jesus.
There can be only one.
This was objectively an excellent match. Great psychology, pacing, good use of Savage on the outside, solid stuff. And Sting's appearance gets a very nice pop from the crowd, who all assume it'll be Sting and DDP at Bash at the Beach versus Hall and I guess it would be Macho, which means that that tag match that the Steiners are looking for at Bash ain't going to be happening anytime soon. Sting points at Savage and Hall, but of course that's not going to stop them. Savage drops 3 elbows before Sting manages to get to the ring. What? Well, yeah, there's 2 on camera. There's also 1 off camera. Now, here's the thing, producer boy. You work in audio production, you fucking monkey. Use your goddamn ears. You couldn't hear the third one? It happened. Anyways, Sting stares down Hall and Nash as garbage starts getting tossed into the ring and at the NWO members themselves. Savage climbs up the ropes, gets a bat to the gut from Sting. Hall rushes in, gets nailed in the stomach as well, and then takes the bat to his hammy as we fade to black. Overall, this was another solid Nitro, 4 out of 5. Great use of crowd psychology in most of the matches. Builds to Bash at the Beach, and we're still 3 weeks away. I know I'm supposed to be more into the Hogan, Rodman, Luger Giant feud, but the Savage DDP heat is tearing the roof off of these places every time they tease these guys at a match. Now, it's great stuff, and it makes Nitro worth sitting through, excuse me. The ratings show that people are still watching back and forth, though, between the 2 shows. We're just a couple months away from a blowout in the ratings, and it is actually kind of fun sitting here and watching things start to come together, even if there are parts that are still really shamefully carny, and the shamefully carny parts should be fucking criminal. Now, I'm going to go watch 350 Days on Prime. Huh? Oh, that's a doc from back in 2019 about wrestlers being on the road for 350 days a year and the toll that it takes on their body. That was not a paid promotion. I swear to Christ, I'm just really interested in watching this because it popped up in my feed today. There you go.
Well, that was an abortion of a show. Should the mood take you, check out markoutradio.com and leave a comment. You can also find links there to our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Stitcher channels. You can even leave a voicemail on our Skype. Just click the links and share them.